Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. Of course, it's Wednesday, new review day here on the channel. Today, here in this episode, I'm going to review the album that everybody's been talking about. Everybody's been asking me, Pete, what are your thoughts on the seventh studio album from Steven Wilson called The Harmony Codex? Well, that's what we're getting to today. It's on Virgin Virgin Records in the UK and in Europe, Spine Farm here in the States, apparently, produced by Steven Wilson. And yeah, I don't have a physical copy. Sorry, guys, don't have it. Probably won't be buying it, but I did want to go listen to it a few times, so at least I can give you my thoughts on it, because everybody wants to know what I think of this Steven Wilson solo album. Well, first of all, he's got like a million people playing on it. He does, as you can imagine, vocals and guitars and bass and all sorts of keyboards and percussion and programming and things like that. He's got this, Hammond organ and Mellotron and Moog and Rhodes electric piano, Prophet, all sorts of other stuff. He's got all sorts of other session musicians playing on here. You got Adam Holzman on keyboards and Ben Coleman on violin, Craig Blundell on drums, David Collar on guitars, David Costin on programming, Guy Pratt on bass, Jack Dangers on beats and programming, Jason Cooper on drums and electronic things, Lee Harris on guitar, Kate Wood on drums, Nick Beggs on Chapman Stick, Nico Tsonev on guitars, Nate Navarro fretless bass, Nils Petter Malvier trumpet, Ninette Tayeb on vocals and guitars, backing vocals, Pat Mestellato on drums, Rotem Wilson on voices, vocals, Samuel Fogarino on drums, Theo Travis on flute and sax, and God, who else? All sorts of people, right? And there's even for this album, there's the kind of the alternate album, which is the harmonic distortion. Right, and you got more people on that. I'm not right now. I'm just doing the one album today. So, what are my thoughts on this album? You might ask. Well, it's certainly a different album. I will say that. It's very different from his previous album, and it's very different from all those lovely prog albums we know and greatly admire from him. We got 10 tracks overall on this one. I'm going to kind of do a track by track thing because that's what I did. I wanted to listen to this and take notes as I was kind of going through this album. It starts off with a song called Inclination. First of all, a bunch of long songs on this. Most people think, oh, cool, long songs, great. Well, maybe not so much on this album. Inclination, though, starts it off kind of atmospheric. Layers of keyboards, nice instrumental open the album. I think it's like 7-8 minutes long if I remember correctly. Pretty cool keys on it. It's very atmospheric, kind of floaty, spacey, but you can start to hear a lot of the kind of the programmed drums and things that are used throughout the album. But not a bad opener. I kind of dig it. What Life Brings is the second song. Kind of floating again, atmospheric pop or art rock. Love the vocal melodies, tasty lead guitars. Really good song. We're off to a good start here. Inclination, What Life Brings. Pretty cool. Track number 3, Economies of Scale. Already, here's where the first blip on the radar here. It's kind of bland, trip pop. I don't even know what to call it. Don't like the program rhythms on this thing. Very repetitive sounding. The vocal layers are well done. I will say the vocal melodies and harmonies throughout the album are pretty well done. But this song overall just doesn't do a lot for me. It's okay, I guess, but not one of my favorites here by any means. Impossible Tightrope, 10-minute long track, right? Nice slow build. A couple sections where it starts to rock up a little bit. Reminds me of like latter period Rush. Not a bad thing. Unfortunately, too little of the song, I think, rocks overall. But there's some other interesting things on here. There's a great screaming saxophone solo from Theo Travis. Some nice keyboards. I think overall, this song at 10 minutes would have made a much better 5-minute instrumental and tightened up a bit. But I think there's some nice ideas here, so not a total loss on that. Rock Bottom, haunting pop song, somber as all hell. Nice vocal from Ninette Tayeb. I'm not really familiar with her, but I think she wrote the song with him as well. Not really my sort of thing, but it's really well done. I can see people really digging this track a lot. It's not really for me, but it's okay, but I get it, all right? Number 6, Beautiful Scarecrow, more of this kind of like ambient, electronic, trip wave pop thing, really sleepy song. Though the second half of it at least picks up a little bit. again, not one that I'm crazy about here. The title track, The Harmony Codex, nearly 10 minutes of layer upon layer of synths. Really nicely done, some cool little ideas in there, but again, it's too long and he's just losing me. I don't mind longer tracks, but it doesn't really go anywhere. But the keyboard work is nice. Time is running out. Quirky art rock, nice melodies. Keyboard work on this reminds me of like late 70s Genesis. This one's a keeper. It's a little weird and quirky, but I like it. Good song. Time is running out. Actual brutal facts. Some wild guitar soloing in the second half of the song by David Collar. Otherwise, the rest of the song, especially the vocals, just annoy the crap out of me. But a good guitar solo. Track number 10, Staircase. Nearly 10 minutes. All right, this is the closer. It's a good one. It's kind of like atmospheric prog rock, art rock. Love his vocals. The guitar solos are really tasty from Nico Sonev. But again, it's kind of long and it does meander a little bit. This would have made a terrific 5-minute track. And that's kind of my feel about much of this album. Like I said, 1 million people helped out on this record, so you got lots of flavors and different textures and things like that. And while I can see the ambition of putting something together like this, I find this album really long and boring in spots, and it's kind of a slog to get through. But I do hear lots of things that I like. Bottom line is I enjoyed this a lot more than his real quirky pop album that he put out, like, what was it, a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it was. But this is still far from the Steven Wilson stuff that I want to hear. That being said, I can see a lot of people really digging this. And, I'm seeing all sorts of comments on this album so far. People are loving it, thinking it's the best thing he's done in years, to people just absolutely hating it and saying, God, Steven Wilson has lost his way. I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle. A lot of this album bores me to tears. Some of it, I like the ideas, and there's bits and pieces that I find brilliant, because I think the guy is pretty brilliant. But overall, a lot of it doesn't work for me. If I can probably pick out like maybe 4 tracks that I enjoy, but even a couple of those they're just too long. It's like I think if all the lengthy pieces I think could have been cut in half and they would have been tighter and better. I think the album would have been better for it. And it's just I'm not big on this whole kind of like sampled electronic programming, percussion and drums type of thing, and all this kind of like trip hop or trip wave or whatever you call it. So ambient music for me I can take in doses, but I can't listen to a lot of it. And I'm missing some rock from Steven Wilson on this. There are little bits and pieces here and there. I think he's done a really nice job on most of the vocal melodies on most of the songs, so that is a good thing. So I don't know. For me, this doesn't really work. God, what do you give it? I don't know. I'm tossed between a 2.5 out of 5 and a 3 out of 5. I know to some that's probably, oh my God, it's a terrible score, Pete. Well, it's not awful. Awful is 1 or 2 out of 5, right? This is like somewhere right around the halfway point. I can see why people are digging it. And I'm just telling you right now, it's not for me. But I can see if you are someone who's watching this and you really like it, I totally get it. But it's not for me. All right, so there you have it. 2.5 out of 5 star, Steven Wilson. Brand new album, The Harmony Codex. Let us know what you think of this album down in the comments below. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support there. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.